All right, my name is Ryan Pierce. I work with the Cass County Career and Tech Ed Center here in Fargo, North Dakota. This is going to be a little tutorial video, tips and tricks for managing a class with Google Classroom where you are delivering synchronously to another site. There are some things that work well, don't work well. It is a little bit different than teaching in a traditional classroom. I apologize for the mess in my office here. Kind of is what it is, but hopefully we can get past that and we'll be able to go through some of this. So, as you're looking at doing a class with Google Classroom, one of the first extremely important things is to make sure you're hardwired. When you run off of Wi-Fi, we have bandwidth issues, and you will typically experience some audio and video issues. As I'm doing this video, you notice I kind of keep looking back and forth here. Another thing I am doing, I am running multiple screens, and I'm using multiple cameras for this video. So I will kind of be all over the place here as we keep going. So we're looking at delivering to another site. We've got students in another class that is somewhere outside of my building. Here are just some things that I would use to manage. As I said, split screen. That really does help a lot. It allows you to work with applications and things on one screen and still see your class in the other screen. And to see what that looks like, and again, like I said, I'm running multiple cameras here for a reason. I'll switch that over quickly so you can see I've got a camera set up over on the side here so you can see my computer right here. So that's the computer I'm on, and then there's my second screen. I'm actually running Google Hangouts in 2 accounts, so that way I can show you how this all sets up, how this all works. You don't have to run 2 accounts, obviously, for doing what you're doing, but I am running 2 different accounts for this demonstration. So I'm going to go back to the camera on my face, and to do this, once I get there, you will be able to see, I'm going to go to a quick screen share. So anytime you want to share something that's on your computer, like I say, I like it on the split monitor. It gives me a little more to see. I can go in and I'm going to choose an application, and you'll be able to see it here in a moment. So this is my other Google account that you're seeing right now, not the one that I'm recording on. So I'm actually screen sharing this. So if I want to go in and switch cameras, I'm going to go to the settings menu, and I can toggle between the different cameras I have. So I can go back to my integrated web camera, and that'll change this one here. I can flip that over and go to my Logitech camera that I have to the side that shows the view of the room. I can toggle back and forth between those cameras through this settings menu. I'm going to leave it on the integrated web camera on this one. I will do a little back and forth on the other. Right now I'm using a screen share on the one that I am actually broadcasting with. So you guys are seeing my other account. So some of the things that are kind of the tips and tricks. When you go in to do a screen share, I know some people like to set up in a room and try to use their video camera to capture what's going on, say, their whiteboard or on their overhead projector. When you zoom in, use cameras and stuff, we do lose visual quality. So it is extremely advantageous to utilize the screen sharing to share applications. So just a recommendation, when you go to screen share, if you're having bandwidth issues or you're having some cut in and cut out, it will operate faster if you go and turn your camera off first. You can also make some adjustments depending on what you want to see on your end, either sending or receiving. Typically more on the sending end to help myself with all the things I'm running. I may adjust my bandwidth and take it down so my quality isn't as high, because if I'm just monitoring students in another room, I don't need to see the pimple on their face or what's written on their book. I don't need to see that level. So sometimes I'll limit that bandwidth if I'm having some issues with things cutting in and out. And then I'll also actually, and I'm going to put this back because we're fine with what I'm doing right now. Or I will also go in and turn my camera off before I start doing the screen sharing. Okay, then I can go ahead and click my screen share button. They're going to see the screen share. So they'll still see it whether my camera's on or off. So turn that back on. So that's one way to kind of manage with it. Trying to think some of the other issues we've been talking about here with some of the things that we're dealing with. Another thing that I like to do when I'm doing my screen sharing, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop screen sharing for a minute. Goes back to this view. I'm going to go in and switch over quick on my web camera here, just so you can see the setup again. So another thing I like to do when I'm working on my screen sharing, if I've got things that I just want to write to students, for example, I'll keep a Word document open at all times. So if I need to, say, write formulas down in a math class, or I need to write codes down for the kids to be able to see, I'll go in and I will share that application window. So you can see that popped up here on the screen, on the big screen, not on my computer screen. And I will go into my applications and I will find, it's like I don't have my Word document open right now, so I'm going to go into my spreadsheet since that's open. But I would do the same thing in my Word document. That way I can go in here and say I need to write in for a math problem. I'm just going to go in and choose my cell. This one says just testing. I can go in and I can type in 2 + 2. So many times I hit the wrong button, equals 4. If students have a hard time seeing, sometimes it's also advantageous to increase your font sizes. Just makes it a little bit easier for them to see on the other end. So I can jack that all the way up. Let's go 24. Makes it a little bit easier to see. That gets outside of that cell. So let's take that down. Cut it out. I'll move it down here so you can see it a little bit better. Highlight my text. Let's change that up to that 24. See if I can adjust my cell size. Now I can see things. I have a lot of stuff going on. Point being is this is a good way to give the students information. Again, I prefer a Word document. I just didn't have the Word document open. And that's another issue that comes up. That's why I did this. You have to actually have the windows open. You can't have them just docked on the side. You do have to actually have the windows open for the program to pick it up. So I'll show you that in just a second here. I'm going to switch over and I will share my other screen. Minimize this so it's out of the way. So if I'm going in to share something and you can't see me sharing currently, all right, we've got that screen. So when I go into share and I go to application, this application window, you can see my Excel spreadsheet isn't there because I minimized it. I don't have it open. It has to be open. And this is where using multiple screens really comes into play and makes it a lot easier to manage what you're doing. So I could go in and I could grab a web page here. Let you see what a web page would look like. I suppose I probably can't on this one just because of all the goofy stuff I've got going on. So I'm going to close that out. You won't see it the same way. I have to go back and share something different. And again, these things get to be getting used to using the program. Sometimes it's just a heck of a lot easier to go in and make sure that you have tried this and just played with it. It's not bringing my camera back up for me here, which I guess stop sharing here. See how many things got goofed up? Not too bad. So, you know, those are some of the options that you do have as far as running your cameras, things like that. It does get to be a little bit of a mess around. Until you've experienced it and got to play with it and get comfortable with it, it does take a little bit of time. But again, those big recommendations out of this are make sure you're hardwired. You know, number one, absolutely hardwire your computer. That will keep a lot of issues down for you as far as video quality, audio quality. Make sure that you are, if you can, using multiple screens. Being able to work back and forth so you can see what's going on, you can still monitor the class, extremely advantageous. Instead of trying to write on a board or zoom in with a camera, try to operate through the screen sharing. Even if you have students in class and you're doing two at the same time, and you kind of want to go up and write on that board, you know, that's what we're all used to doing in the classroom. They can still see that Word document that you're typing stuff into instead of writing on the board. So sharing and having that open Google Doc, or since we're all about Google here, using that Google Doc or Word document, whatever, having that blank up there so you can write notes, you can share that to your students. You can also have it showing up on your projector so they're both seeing the same thing at the same time. It does get to be, when you're trying to run a class like this, it's really hard to walk away from your computer because you do have to actually manage the video equipment, the screens, et cetera, et cetera. If the option exists, whether it's a tech person, somebody from a class, maybe as a class project, having them as a tech manager in the classroom can also help, where they can sit and operate the computer end for you, so you can be free to walk around, do things, and they can switch between screens, and then there's just some interaction back and forth. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys with this, and it's just kind of the operating things, and sometimes just makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to go back and share this Google Hangout with you here. Utilizing your chat function. It's on that upper left-hand side, the blue box. I guess I always have that on when I'm using this stuff. So if there is a technical issue, if there's something, maybe students trying to ask a question and they keep breaking up, they can type that question in then. And that kind of helps alleviate a little bit sometimes when you have audio issues, to be able to chat back and forth. And that's where it becomes important, again, to be monitoring what's happening here. And it does get to be having 4 or 5 sets of eyes to work through it. But the more that you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. Just like setting up and doing this video. Yep, there's, as you can see, there's some bobbles, you know, you click on the wrong thing once in a while. But the more you do it, the easier it does become. Because again, I've got multiple Google Hangouts going on right now. I'm recording this to YouTube right now. I'm doing a lot of different things. So it's just learning how and practicing and really getting used to using this. So as we all keep going forward, and this is really intended for our Cass County group, not that other people won't catch this out there. Maybe something works for you, it doesn't work for you. But for our particular group that this is intended for, if you guys have questions, if you want me to demo things, how you can possibly manage something, shoot me an email, let me know in some way or another, and I can add some information for you, do another video like this. It does help sometimes, and again, I can't stress the practice end. I know it gets frustrating. I mean, I completely understand that. I've had to learn how to use this stuff too. But as you can see, you can do a lot with it. There is a lot of power there. It's just a matter of becoming comfortable. So again, if there's questions, keep letting me know, and have a wonderful afternoon.